Full time at Pearse Stadium, and it is Galway who get the better of Kilkenny, but only just. And it was very close, wasn't it? Going down the home stretch. I mean, very, very close indeed. Kilkenny with that dramatic late goal right at the death from John Donnelly, and you felt like Kilkenny maybe just might sneak it. And how many late goals have Kilkenny got in this beautiful sport of hurling? I mean, so many late goals, time and time again. They seem to get late goals. It's ever so present under Brian Cody, and you'd love to see a statistic of how many late goals they've gotten in the Brian Cody era in the championship, because so many late goals. And at the end there, very soft free in my opinion. It looked more like a coming together, and for the referee to call that. I never say you should always call a foul and play it how it is, and you shouldn't just because it's the last minute of a game and everything else, But at the same time, I just don't really know if there was enough really in it there. I'll need to go back and see it again to double check it to see it a bit more. But from what I've seen of it, without obviously having seen the replay after, just looked a little soft, in my opinion. But look, you can't take anything away from Galway in the end. They hung on just about, they only scored 6 points after the 36th minute. They had an 8 to 9 point lead at one stage, I think it was, early on in the second half. They were very, very comfortable. You felt like with Kilkenny, you knew there was going to be a push. You knew they were going to throw everything at it late on in the second half, and there was going to be that moment where Kilkenny start to claw the gap back. But to be fair to Galway, I think when Kilkenny did narrow that gap, and I think Galway went about nearly 20 minutes without scoring in the second half, fair play to Galway, because they were able to chip away with, a couple of points. They hit 3 without reply, actually. Once they got that first score of the second half, Brian Concannon, Joseph Cooney, and David Burke, after Kilkenny had leveled up proceedings early, in the second half in around the 54th, 55th minute. So, from a Galway perspective, they responded really, really well. And it's a huge win for Galway. It's a huge win for them because, since 2018, when they got to that All-Ireland final and were beaten by Limerick, they've had some good wins, don't get me wrong. 2019, obviously getting to an All-Ireland semi-final. But generally speaking, they've needed a big win over this Kilkenny team, and they've needed to sort of, for obviously for Henry Shefflin, but for a lot of the younger players that have obviously come into the team. You think of the likes of your Brian Concannons in there. Some of the other, new lads that have obviously come into the side in the last couple of seasons. So, important for them just to get a big victory over this Kilkenny side to really kind of build momentum now going into the later games of the round robin. And Galway, let's not forget, play Dublin at home as well, which, I'm sure the Galway lads will be up for that after what happened to them in Croke Park last year. But look, in terms of this game in general, Galway started the better score in the opening 3 scores. Joseph Cooney, Mannion, and Concannon getting the opening 3 scores of the game. But really, Kilkenny did start to dictate from there. They obviously got themselves a goal from Owen Cody, who was brilliant in the first half. It's not just the scoring, as we very well know, but he's the link man. He set up the second goal as well. Like, he's just a part of everything brilliant that Kilkenny do, and such a skillful hurler as well. Very hard to dispossess on the ball, and just a great eye for goal as well. And he was very good, I felt, for Kilkenny, and certainly in that sort of, I would say, sort of, first quarter of the second half or first half of the first half, if that makes sense. I think Kilkenny were quite on top. They were winning. They were showing quite a bit of intensity. They were getting a couple of blocks in. They were doing well around the middle. But the thing that stood out for me was that although Kilkenny were, playing a little bit better around that time, they had to really work for their scores. They had to create chances, leave them two inside there. 2 men up at the full forward line. They had to work a lot for their scores. They were trying to run it through, whereas Galway were probably just a little bit more accurate in those early stages, and they didn't fall too far behind. And once Galway did get going and started to find a bit of momentum and a bit of rhythm, it was very, very hard for Kilkenny to limit Galway's influence, especially towards the end of the first half. I mean, the midfield from Galway was brilliant. Tom Monaghan, absolutely brilliant in there, forcing a lot of turnovers. Obviously Joseph Cooney as well was brilliant, and big difference as well. Like I don't know if TJ Reid obviously goes off at half time, but I don't know if that was an injury he had coming into the game or what the story was there, because definitely a few uncharacteristic misses from him as well. He's usually so accurate, but I remember quite early on in the first half he missed one out from maybe 15 meters, 20 meters or something like that. It was very, very, very odd, and you certainly wouldn't see that very often. In a sort of high standard of hurling game that this was, and especially from one of the best free takers of all time in TJ Reid, and one of the best hurlers of all time probably as well. So a little bit unusual there, but Galway were just that bit more accurate in the first half with a whole host of points really coming from Brian Concannon, Conor Cooney. Joseph Cooney was obviously chipping away. Billy Ryan gets the second goal for Kilkenny. Kilkenny were opening up Galway's defence quite a bit from time to time, and that certainly was a worry from a Galway perspective. But obviously, big goal from Johnny Cohen on the 23rd minute. Very well taken goal. And Galway from there, towards the end of the first half, they actually hit, what did they hit here in total? They hit 1-6 without reply just after TJ Reid's free on the 22nd minute. So 1-6 without reply after that. Big margin of victory right there for Galway. Big, sort of moment in the game. But look, Kilkenny came roaring back in the second half. And as I was saying before, Conor Cooney hits a free on the 36th minute. But then after that, they didn't score again until the 56th minute. So 20 minutes in total there without scoring. And they just sort of lost their way a little bit. Just a few passes going astray. Kilkenny winning a lot of those rucks, dirty balls sort of, coming from puckouts. And they were doing well, to be fair to them. And they started, getting the ball into their shooters, just sort of chipping away at the scoreline. That's what Kilkenny, the one thing I've always noticed from Kilkenny under Brian Cody is, they just have this habit of just chipping away at the scoreline, and it's not even that noticeable. It's not like they're playing wonderfully brilliant or doing anything crazy, or you've seen them kind of change the system or change tactics around like that. They just sort of turn it on, and 1 point becomes 2, 3, 4, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, they're only 2-3 points behind. And that was what happened. They caught up with Galway, but as I said, Galway's response after Kilkenny got level was very impressive. Concannon, Cooney, and Burke with 3 points. And then towards the end, Kilkenny, it was one of them opportunities. It was getting very, very scrappy. Both sides trying to work balls inside. Kilkenny obviously trying to get that goal, which they get from John Donnelly. And then Galway go down the other end and probably get definitely a bit of a contentious free, to say the least. I'd definitely be curious to know some of your opinions in the comments below. But a few things that stood out from Galway, like, look, from their starting 15 there, they had 7 scores. So they're getting a lot of they're getting a lot from their forwards, and they're not just I think the days of, you can't be too reliant on one individual talent to sort of drag you over the line or to get you where you need to be. And you're seeing with Galway, they're getting scores from a lot of different places, like Concannon with 4 points, Mannion with 2, Conor Cooney with 6, and then 8 points from their midfield in there, and Joseph Cooney and Tom Monaghan. Obviously, Joseph Cooney playing much further forward in midfield, but 5 points in there was very impressive from him. Fintan Burke with 2 as well. So not too bad indeed from a Galway perspective. From Kilkenny, as I said, Owen Cody was very good with 1-2. Walter Walsh, he caught some brilliant high balls at times. Some really, really clean catches. He finished with 3. But look, it was a game that could have went either way, and I don't think Kilkenny were, poor or bad. Either sides had their good moments, their bad moments, but Galway just about nicked it. And usually you'd probably associate Kilkenny, the type of team that would come out and nick that one. Even when the ref blew for a free at the end, I just thought it was a Kilkenny free, because I was nearly thinking that's almost classic Cody, isn't it? To be behind for literally the majority of the game and then somehow come away with the win. That would have been incredible, but not meant to be. Look, Kilkenny, you still expect them to come out of this round robin, but for Galway, look, after the draw with Wexford, it would have been a big disappointment, obviously, the way they allowed Wexford to come back into it. But the fact that this finished, the fact that Galway got this win here gives them a big, big incentive. And it certainly does, I think the round robin, it's going to be very wide open. And I think there's going to be, 3-4 teams very well in contention for not just getting into the top 3, but possibly even a Leinster final as well. I really think it's going to be very similar to how we've seen it in 2019 when it went down to the final day. I think it's Galway, Dublin on the final day as well. So, and Galway obviously have that one at home. So that is going to be very, very interesting. And if you enjoyed the content, smash the like button. It is completely free. Let me know in the comments down below. What did you think of the game? Who was your man of the match? My man of the match? Ooh, tough one. Probably Joseph Cooney. But I'm not sure. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And yeah, stay tuned for more reactions as always. Derry versus Tyrone is thrown in about 10 minutes. And I'm very, very much looking forward to that game. So yeah, cheers anyone who tuned in. And I'll see you all